Welcome to the last webinar in our 2025 series. I just don't know where the year's gone, but it's flown by, and here we are in the Christmas period again. We hope that you've enjoyed all the webinars this year, especially as they're requested by the stroke survivors, that things they wanted to talk about. So we want to follow this theme and go forward into next year. So any suggestions, we'll be grateful for webinars. There'll be a short feedback questionnaire pop up at the end, and there's a question in there that you can put any ideas, or you can always email us or ring us. If you want to watch any of this year's webinars back, if you pop onto our website and select stroke information, you will see the webinar library come up. Just click on there and you'll see all the webinars from this year and previous years, and when we did online conferences and everything. So there's a range of topics there, both from professionals and stroke survivors as well. So today I am joined by Janice, Susie, and Andy, and they're all being parents before their stroke, and obviously coping with painting after their stroke. So we're going to hear from them shortly. With the range of ages start from very young babies up to the dreaded teenagers. So we've got a range of ages there. Just before we start, I'll go through some housekeeping. The session is being recorded, but the only people that will appear on screen are the four of us you can see here. So myself, Janice, Andy, and Susie. If you've got any questions, we'd love you to ask them. Pop them in the Q&A box that you'll find down the bottom of your screen. It's important that you put them in the Q&A box, because if you put them in the chat, we possibly won't see them. But please do use the chat to talk to one another, say hi, say where you're watching from today. But questions, please, in the Q&A box. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to the guys today. So Janice, can you kick us off, please?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm Janice, and I had my stroke almost 26 years ago. I was 34, a midwife on maternity leave. I had my first baby in the July, so she was 5 months old. And on the 21st of December, I very rudely had a quite a massive stroke that paralysed my right-hand side, took away my eyesight, and nearly my swallowing reflex, but I could speak. And back in 1999, they didn't do anything heroic to save you. They kind of waited and saw what would happen. And so they waited 24 hours and then did an MRI to confirm my stroke, heparinized me, and then I spent 5 months in hospital, separated from my child. I was breastfeeding at the time, but the separation meant that breastfeeding had to stop within about 10 days. Plus the medics were desperate to give me medicine that wasn't appropriate for breast milk. And my husband luckily worked for, he was a civil servant, and basically they were really kind to him and just said, go and get yourself signed off sick. You need to care for the child. So basically he became a one-parent family while I was in hospital, and he used to bring her in every day to visit me, which was great. But the way that the stroke affected me was my brain, it damaged my brain stem, So my eyesight was badly affected. So I couldn't really see her. Um, couldn't pick her up because of my right hand. And obviously couldn't walk at that time. And it was a really slow recovery. Eventually, I did manage to get home for the weekends. And I think my husband thought, great, she's home. She'll take over the care of the baby. But I was so shattered. I just used to have a shower, have a sleep, have something to eat, have a sleep. So I don't think that was really hard for my husband because I think he just thought, she's back now. He can rest while I take over. And it was just the simple things. Well, what I thought were simple things, trying to feed her. Somebody would put her in a high chair for me, and I would have something soft, maybe like um, mashed up bananas, and I just couldn't see where her mouth was. And you know what babies are like? You go like that with a spoon, and they do that. So she ended up with lots of banana in her hair, in her eyes, and so so that was really frustrating. That side of the care of it, changing nappies. I think nappies are a little bit easier now. You can get ones that you can just pull on. Those were all the tabs. And she was a really active baby. She was walking again before I was. So it was a bit of a race to get mobile again so that I could stop her from doing all the dangerous things that toddlers like to do. Um, so in fact, really, she was probably really good for my rehab because I had a real massive goal to get myself going as well as I could. Because initially, when I did go home after 5 months, I had carers. So the carers would come in to help. The idea was that they were to help me, help her, help look after her. Um, but I found that I didn't like having people in my home. So again, I think that was like further motivation for me to get my grab back some control over this little baby that had been mine, and all around me, everybody else was caring for her. So that made me more determined, I think, to just try and figure out how I could care for that baby, and I did everything for her on the floor. I went through so many knees of in pairs of jeans, and I had hard skin on the backs of my feet because I just used to do everything for her, changing her, bathing her. Um, I'm so glad that there wasn't video cameras easily available in those days because some of the things that I used to do to be as independent as possible, I'm sure would be frowned upon because I used to use my knees to hold her head straight while I was trying to put eye drops in her eyes. Brushing her teeth, I used to pin her to me so that I could brush her teeth just because I was just being really stubborn that I wanted to do as much for her as possible. Um, uh, I think I've probably mentioned this. If I've spoken to any of you in the past, I probably mentioned this to you that when I was in hospital, my husband took her clothes shopping because obviously babies grow really fast, and he brought this little boy into the hospital because he'd gone out and just bought her boys things because he thought, yeah, cool, I'll just get her a pair of jeans, I'll get her a grey jumper. You know, he didn't sort of flower her up. So it was little things like that that I just thought I've just got to let this go, that little bit of control, because I'm going to get it back. I was just biding my time so that when I was strong enough to fight my corner again, get and that those were the kind of little things, my little goals that I was planning on taking back. Yeah, so that was life with her as a new baby. And then uh, I don't think she really knew because she was 5 months old. She didn't really know that I was any different. Dad used to come home from work and he used to do the fun things. He would chuck her up in the air. But I'm thinking I probably wouldn't have done that anyway, because I'd be too frightened of dropping her. But and he was the one who taught her to ride her bike. do all the things that I I would have loved to have done with her, but I didn't miss out as such that I was always there. I was always there for her. So those were some of the positives that I took out of it because I thought if I'd have not had a stroke, I would have probably gone back to work really quickly, work full time. I absolutely adored being a midwife, so I know I would have gone back and paid somebody else to care for her. So that was one of the big positives for me is that I was always there um, to see everything that she ever did and achieved. I don't know if I'm waffling on too much, Sheila. So do stop me if you want me to.
No, you're not. And I
Yeah.
think, you've hit on something that people might feel of guilt for doing. Like you mentioned dad coming home and chucking her up in the air and doing all these things and teaching her to ride a bike and everything. I think that's normal dad things, dad or
Yeah,
the other parent comes home from work and what have you, and
yeah,
does the it's good cop, bad cop, isn't it?
yeah,
Kind of thing. And I think whoever's at home with the children all day is the bad cop, and then the
yeah,
good cop comes home and throws them in the air and does all the fun things
yeah,
with them, whereas, you know, we
yeah. You're
just
telling
stick
them to
banana
eat
in their
their,
hair.
yeah, yeah. I can. I think me and my daughter are very similar, and my husband used to come home and say, "God, there's a real atmosphere in here." It's because there'd have been a battle of wills over what she was going to eat, what she was going to wear, what we did.
Do
So
you
it
do
was
you
always,
think Robin picked up on the difference between you and your husband as parents, or do you think she just accepted
yeah.
you
I don't
for
think
how
she was
you
so.
were?
Yeah, I don't think she did. I don't think she was aware of that at all. It was more when she went to school,
Mm.
and I think then she noticed a difference. One, she did say to me, "Why don't you go out to work?" And I said, "Well, Mummy can't at the moment, and I'm looking after you." And that's that kind of thing. So she was a bit because she want and what it was, she wanted to go to after school club with her friends. So all her working mum, all her friends who had working parents, they used to go to the after school club. So she was missing out on the fun things they did in the after school club. So it was,
Typical
so
child.
it was very selfish reasons. Um, But I think she didn't really notice me at all. I think it was as she got older and somebody might say to her, "Why is your mum limping? Why isn't your mum doing X, Y, and Z?" But I did everything that I could try. I tried to do everything. I joined the PTA. I was always there to watch her in the assemblies.
Mm.
I used to go in and listen to the kids reading, even though I did get nits 3 times, which with hair like mine was a bit of a nightmare. Um, but when she was 11, her dad had a stroke, completely different to mine. His was more a fatigue just floored him, and his memory was shocking, and that really disturbed her. She just thought, "My mum's had a stroke. Dad's had a stroke. When am I going to have mine?" Again, self-preservation, I think. And she was really, that really upset her. But we just tried to be really open. We've always talked about everything and explained things as best we can when we can. So that's been our approach to the majority of her parenting, trying not to let her miss out. Things have just been different, I guess. More planning. I've always had to do loads and loads of planning before we do anything
Mm.
and take things at a slower pace for me. But we've tried to do as much as we possibly could when we could, just to try and, not let her suffer, I guess.
Excellent. I mean, parenting's a hard job. anyway, isn't it, for anyone
Mm.
and what have you, without, added issues at the time. Right, can we pass on to Susie now? Thank you, Janice.
We talk to just oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Susie. Had a stroke 2 years ago, well, a bit over 2 years ago in August. And I had three children. I had a caught Emery arterial dissection, and it led to a stroke. Um, and I was in hospital for 6 weeks. At the time, my littlest one was 11 weeks old, and my other ones were 6 and 8. So obviously, I couldn't breastfeed as well. Um, I'm a midwife as well as Janice. So I, you know, that was quite important to me to breastfeed, but I couldn't do it. And so my partner had to take him home and got him some bottles. Um, and yeah, it was really tough. The first few days, I don't think they thought I'd make it. I was transferred over to Nottingham and they did two surgeries. They did, I don't know, they took the thing out my neck and then they did the thing in my head. And yeah, but yeah, I was quite poorly after that. And yeah, so when I woke up, I couldn't move anything. Can move this left side, but that was it. And they were very slow. So I had to learn to talk again, because I couldn't talk. I had to well learn everything again, really. So at 6 weeks when I got out from the hospital, I was home, but I was not ready to really do anything. I I I think I got a care package, and I had carers came to help me, and had physio as well, for 6 weeks. And during that time, I think I got a bit better, but I couldn't do a lot of the stuff. My mum did it all, and my sisters, and my mother-in-law, and my husband, and they just did a lot because I couldn't do it. But gradually over time, I got better. I've joined the Matt Hampson Foundation now, and that's really helped me. And yeah, and now in July, my partner left me. But actually now I can do the nappies, can do everything with one hand. So that's really good for me. But yeah, I don't know what else to say.
How did your
Yeah.
older two cope when you initially had your stroke?
Um, well, they were in the house. They were downstairs, and baby was with me. And I don't think they really knew what was happening. They just went back downstairs and opened up crisps, and that was it. But yeah, I think the older one, he hasn't opened up much. He hasn't read a book or anything. But he's just like, yeah, yeah, it's fine, Mum. I know what it is. You've had a stroke. Yeah, and he's just like dead. You know, it's normal. Yeah, it's okay. Do what you do. And yeah, my middle one, he read the book and he was really good. And he, you know, talked through it all, and he got the kids, and yeah, I think he benefited a lot from reading the book. Yeah. So yeah, both of them had like things at school that they went to, but they didn't show, you know, they weren't upset, or yeah, they were just happy, which is, I suppose is good, but yeah,
Well, that's it. At the end of the day, you're their mum,
yeah,
and I think they accept their parents regardless, kind of thing, as long as they're
yeah,
getting looked after
yeah,
and loved and everything,
yeah, yeah,
especially boys.
yeah,
They
yeah,
just get
yeah,
on with it without saying too much. The books that you refer to are children's resources, that Janice will show you. We've got them for 3 age groups. So I'll let Janice talk to you a bit about these because she knows more about them.
This is the book that we would send out to you if your child was anywhere between the ages of 3 and 7, and it's a wipe, can't say wipe clean book. So if you've got water soluble felt tips, they can draw on them and uh, write their story. And we've on purpose called it someone I excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Someone I love had a stroke, so that they're suitable for everybody. That a child, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a grandma, granddad, anybody, they can personalize it. And then we have a one that's aimed at the 8 to 12-year-old age group. Again, they can personalize it, and there's lots of tips and hints for the child. But lots of people have told me that they've read them to older adults, and because it's quite a simple explanation, but it goes through everything that we could possibly think of when we were formulating them, from all the hidden sides of stroke, fatigue, memory loss, as well as all the physical side and recovery, and how some people appear to have made 100% recovery, but they've got all the hidden sides. And then there's other people who will not walk again, or will always have difficulty with everything. And then this one is for the teenagers, and these are the teens that we interviewed. They were all teenagers when their parent had a stroke, and it was really quite interesting because I interviewed 4 of these young people, and 2 of them had never ever spoken about it because they said, "Well, it's not me who's had the stroke," and they were trying to be as um, easy for the family to care for. So they bottled up everything that they were feeling because they just thought, well, it's not about me, is it? It's about mum, or it's about dad. My feelings don't matter. And it came back to sort of bite them later on in life because they hadn't managed to deal with their feelings at the time. So a lot of people have been really grateful for those books, because even if they don't you can't see yourself and your family in those situations, you can mold them into being appropriate for your situation. So if you haven't got a copy, I really, really encourage you to um, request a copy from us and read it. And then if you feel it's appropriate for your children, share it with them. If you don't, then that's fine too. Keep it for when you think, well, maybe they would, get some benefit from it.
Excellent. And you can get those through our website, or just email us or ring us, and we can send those out to you. Thank you, Janice.
I can put a link in the chat as well.
Thank you. Andy, would you like to give us your story?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying I didn't realise I had to be a midwife to get on this call. And I definitely wasn't. So I had my stroke about 6 years ago in 2019, and I'm not kind of bore you with the story. You can find it on the Different Strokes website. I had my stroke in a fairly remote place with my son. We had no other family kind of immediately about, so he was 14 at the time, and he had to basically help get the emergency services and get me, look after me as I was transferred to hospital, which took quite a while. Um, he, I should have said, I've got 3 children. My son, who was 14 years at the time, and I've got 2 daughters. Eldest one was 16 and the youngest one was 11. It actually happened the day after her birthday, so it's kind of memorable for her. But my son was with me at the time. He was great, looked after me, didn't panic, wasn't distressed at all, was just really good in terms of that. When my wife spoke to him afterwards about it, he said that because I didn't seem to be upset and panicking, he didn't want to be upset and panicking, and he just kind of was very mechanical about it. My eldest daughter, I got taken to hospital in Glasgow. We live about an hour away from Glasgow. My eldest daughter, as it happened, was in Glasgow that day at university, and she was 16 at the time, just going through what in Scotland's called Nat 5s, in England would be GCSEs, so kind of a sort of first level school exams. And me and my wife thought the best process would be to try and shield her as much as possible from the fact that I had a stroke. So my wife sent her a message just to say, look, with Dad, he's in hospital, everything's fine. Just go back home, and Grandad will pick you up from the train station and we'll see you later on. And she was like, no, not going home. I need to come to the hospital. So my wife tried to negotiate with her. And eventually, my daughter had said, so she was in the centre of Glasgow, the hospital that I was at's about kind of 3 or 4 miles away from the centre of Glasgow, in one of the less salubrious parts of Glasgow. And she was insisting that she was going to walk from where she was to the hospital to see me. Thankfully, the people at the university, with all the kind of staff, obviously seeing that she was a bit distressed and upset about things, asked what was wrong, and arranged to send her in a taxi. And again, she of the 3 children, she's possibly the one that was most affected, albeit she never talks about it. And just kind of like what Janice was saying, I think she put on the brave face to try and kind of. She was the oldest child. She wanted to be the one that stepped up. And I think that the longer term kind of cognitive impact or psychological impact on her has been worse because of that. Because she kind of wanted to just not be the emotional one, just be the one that got on with things and sorted the problems. My youngest daughter, who was 11 at the time, she, she was with her mum when her mum got the phone call. Our mum left her grandparents and came to the hospital. But she was hit quite hard by it. She's literally daddy's girl, like she's a mini me. And she sees me and thinks, oh, Dad's had a stroke. I've also, after my stroke, got diagnosed with congenital heart defect. So she's thinking that I've got a stroke someplace in my life. So she's got a bit of an impact from that. But as a family, we had some really good support. We had family counselling together. Again, my eldest daughter didn't really engage with that. The other two engaged with it quite well. The local authority young carers have been really good for my daughter and really looked after her. And that they're now, two of them have left home, and I'm just trying to push my youngest daughter out the door, but she's hanging on. That's me, Sheila.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Andy. It's funny how children can be resilient, keep quiet, what have you. It's, they never fail to amaze me. I've worked before my stroke with lots of children, and they just accept things for what they are. And sometimes you want them to talk, but they just don't want to talk, and they don't need to talk. But if they know the opportunity is there to talk to someone, they will talk. So we've got some things in the comment section. I'm just going to read out to you. Someone says, thank you for sharing your story. I'm a new mum who's had a stroke and I'm really struggling caring for my baby with one hand. But knowing you all got through it despite all your challenges gives me lots of hope. So that's good to hear. And someone else saying kids can be so resilient. What else? Somebody saying, what can health professionals do to help? I'm a specialist nurse and I love the books and can't speak highly enough of different strokes, but I'm always interested to hear about what we can do differently. Can I throw that over to you, Janice, please?
Yeah, I don't know what everybody's like healthcare situation was like, but I was lucky enough that in the hospital I was in, there was a day room, and I was just on a again going back into the dark ages. It was a care of the elderly ward that I was on. There wasn't a stroke unit. I don't know if they'd been invented back then. So, and I used to go into the day room and it was completely empty. So I used to go in so we could have family time in there. Um, so we were encouraged to sort of go out away from the bedside and go somewhere else, go to the cafe. And when I could go out, we just used to go off the ward. So I think just encourage, obviously, once the initial trauma is over and the patient's stable, I think children's imaginations can run riot. So if parents are keeping their children away because you look scary, maybe you've had a craniotomy or you just look so different, but a child's imagination will be creating a far worse picture in their head than what you actually look like. So I think include the children as much as possible, but every parent knows their children. So if they think, oh God, that would be far too scary for my child, then I think you've got to respect that. But I think try and encourage people to say, look, just try and talk to your child at the level they're at so that they're not imagining everything. And yeah, just include them in the therapies as well. I think because some people, one of the teenagers said to me when I interviewed him, he used to go and visit his mum, but he just used to sit there in the corner on his phone because he thought, well, I can't do anything, and she's far more interested in my little sister because she was taking in paintings and stuff that she'd done at school. So he was just sat there playing on his phone, doing an odd grunt or whatever teenage boys do. But he said when she went home and the physios, this lady was a single parent as well. When she went home, he was basically her one of her main carers, even though she had a care package, but they were there in the morning and then to put her to bed in the evening. But all day it was him and his little brother who were basically carers for his mum. So when the 6 week of treatment came and the physios came and the nurses and everything, he felt like he was more involved with his mum's care and his mum's rehab. So he was massaging her feet, massaging her hand. So I think just try and involve the children. If the children are up for it, I think involve them in the care of their loved one.
Thank you, Janice.
Can I
It's,
just, sorry, Sheila, can I just go
yeah,
on that?
carry on.
There's a wee bit, Janice, in just what you were saying there. I think as a parent, you don't want to think of your child as a carer.
Mm.
So yeah, my children were really good in caring for me and looking after me. But there was always that wee bit of pushback from me that I didn't I didn't want them to lose their childhood and they were, or their adolescence by being my carer. So it's always a balance, I think. And yeah, I agree with you. Getting them involved, getting your children involved in your care and your recovery is really important.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
there is
Andy.
a charity. I've just put their uh, website in our chat. They are young carers, and they are happy to support young people that have somebody in the house that needs care and support, even if they're not actually doing anything at all. They're not, maybe they're not physically doing anything for their loved one, but they're there as an emotional support. And because, um, you know, uh, when you've got a child, you run to their routine, don't you? You get them up, you feed them, you take them to school or nursery or whatever, and then you pick them up from school and you take them to ballet and trying to think of all the things that Robin did. She did everything because I didn't want her to feel like she was left out. So I probably overstimulated her by not wanting her to miss out. So we did ballet. She did brownies, horse riding, all that kind of stuff. And so so it's like the routine. It's just I've lost my thread now, Sheila. Where was I? Yeah, so
You
it's
were
just I
talking
think
about young carers and
yeah.
their
So sorry,
health.
yeah, young carers. So I think um, because of their because of all the routines that's happening to the stroke survivor, I think sometimes a young person in a household can feel like they are missing out, but they don't. Like Andy said, they don't want to mention it because they don't want to be, it's not about me, it's about mum, it's about dad, or whatever. So they keep quiet and they don't get the emotional support that they may have done otherwise if something else had have happened. Say you'd have broken your leg, you'd have been out of action for 3 months maybe or something. That they know that it's going there's like a beginning point and an end point, whereas we don't know how we're going to recover from a stroke or how long. Because I know personally, I was recovering for many years after my stroke, came out of hospital in a wheelchair, and I think the physio at the time said, oh, I should be grateful for that I could walk around my house and go up and down the stairs. Whereas I was going, well, that's not good enough for me. I've, I'm 34. I've I've got a life to live. My mother's side of the family were all long livers. I thought, what if I live till I'm 90? I can't be, just waiting to see what happens. I've got to be more proactive. And like I've said to Susie probably loads of times, you can't do that yet. I've always got that, I can't do it now, or I might not do it like everybody else does it, but I'm doing it. It might take me ages to do it, but I'm doing it. And particularly when Robin was a little one, she might scream and shout at me, blue murder, but nothing was going to happen to her. She wasn't in danger. She was just really cross that I was being really slow at putting her next nappy on. And she'd just have to cope with it because I couldn't go any faster. So, um, yeah, so that's yeah, I think again, I've lost my thread, but I think that is just taking your time, taking their thoughts and feelings into consideration. Do let your schools know. If you haven't told your schools or nurseries, do let the classroom teacher know. Do let the head teacher know, because they have well-being support staff in every school. Contact your young carers, because there might be something that they can do, that they go to a meeting with loads of other kids who've got somebody in the home that needs care and attention, and they just have a little bit of time just for them. And I think it's just important, just not to make them feel special or feel different, but just feel like somebody gets them. And it's the peer support side of it. Somebody gets them without them having to put on a brave face. I'll stop lecturing everybody now.
It's definitely worthwhile talking to the school and that, so they get some support, because sometimes you find that, you know, stuff that happens at home comes out in school, but if the school don't know about things, they can't help the child in the way they need to. Myself personally, my youngest was 15 when I had my stroke, and a few months after my stroke, he had the first seizure, which led to him being diagnosed as epileptic. But at the time, the school knew I'd had a stroke because we delayed a holiday to the start of the school term, and I just said to school, we're going on it now. It's important to be as a family because I've had a stroke, etc., etc., etc. So they knew. But then when Toby became ill as well, I was able to speak to the medical team at the school and tell them about myself as well, because I was being tested for a genetic stroke thing that it was guilt on my part, because I thought when my son had his first seizure that this was it coming out in him. Was it a seizure? Was it a stroke? What have you? Have I got this genetic thing and what have you? And they dealt marvelously with my son when he had seizures in school, but they also allowed for me not getting up there to the school to pick him up as quick as possible, or they were understanding with the processing thing when they were telling me what was going to happen in school and how they would care for him and what have you. So they took into account my feelings as well. So it's definitely worth having a conversation with the school. A few more comments as well, which tie in with some questions we had previous in advance to this. I'll read out the questions we had in advance to this. One of them is, for those of you who had your stroke before having children, how did you navigate telling your children about it? And how do you cope with the guilt of not being able to be the parent you were before the stroke, especially when your children aren't old enough to fully understand what has happened? Now, obviously, all of us today were parents before having our stroke, but Janice and Susie, you were a very young baby, so they didn't know about it at the time, so you had to tell them about it. We've also had a comment from somebody watching who says, my baby has just turned 1 and she rejects me because I can't carry her or play with her like her able-bodied father. The rejection really hurts and is especially hard because she can't understand what I'm saying yet, in terms of, I can't do it because I'm disabled kind of thing. I'm not sure how to overcome this phase yet, but we've overcome so much as survivors. We will overcome this too. That is very true. But again, it is hard at the time. So Janice and Susie, how did you get round that one. I think you've talked about it a bit, Janice.
Yeah, let
But
Susie have a
yeah,
Susie have a go.
I think really, I mean, with the baby, you can't do everything. You have to accept that actually someone has to do it for you to begin with. But about a year, I suppose it was about a year, I started doing nappies a bit more regularly. And yeah, I've just then done them. And it may be a problem, because I can't get them done quick enough, but actually I
Because
do
my
it
boys
all.
is
And yeah, yeah,
the boys
exactly. But
getting me in the
actually,
face, yeah.
he's very good. He lies there and he's very good. And I change it and it's done. I have got the pull-up nappies now, that they help a bit. But even them, they can be a mess sometimes. So yeah, but actually now I've been it's been about 2.5 years now, but he recognizes me and he responds to me, and actually I think he sees me as his mum, and that's the main thing. And obviously we can't we we can't we don't have to do the nappies. But there are other things that we can do that can make a big difference, to hug them. When you can't talk, you can just give them a hug, whether you're right or whatever side you've got. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Did you use
Yeah,
any aids, Susie? Because I used to use a baby sling. So I used to have a
yeah,
so that I had my good hand free.
I
So
did, but I didn't use them a lot,
yeah.
because I could only use it when I was in the mobility scooter.
Mm.
Because I couldn't walk around with it.
All right,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So I was a bit limited, but yeah.
And when I used to bath her, I used to try and do as much as I possibly could for her. So I used to bath I used to have a plastic bath inside the main bath, and
Mm,
somebody bought me a sling for when she was.
right.
So if she did fall back, she used to fall back into this. It was just made out of um, toweling, I guess.
Mm,
So it's like practical things like that. Because I had a friend who had twins, and she said that was like parenting one-handed, because you had to do things at the same time for both these
yeah.
twins. And she gave me a lot of the um, aids that she had for coping with twins
Right.
that really helped me. So
Mm,
yes, I just used to look out for things. So it was always the
yeah.
safety side of it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they just have to wait.
Yeah.
Because I never had her like, for instance, when because she was an early walker, if I wanted to go to the toilet, it would take me ages to get upstairs and then back down again, and I couldn't take her with me. So poor little thing, I had this rocker top thing. It was like a play center that I could sit her in the middle. So I used to pin her in that, knowing that she couldn't go anywhere, and she probably would scream blue murder the whole time I went upstairs and the whole time I came back down, but she was safe, and and I needed to go to the loo, so it
Yeah.
was just she, yeah.
I think
I
for
tell you,
the first year, I suppose my family took over a lot of
yeah,
it, because I couldn't do it. So then I think I took it back, and I've taken it
yes,
back, and now I've got it all. So yeah. And actually, I carry him around with one hand and, do the nappy with one hand, put him in the car seat one-handed,
yeah,
and everything, So yeah,
yeah. I
it's
think
been a
Robin's
learning
first
curve.
my daughter's first word, I think, was careful, because I must have said it to her the whole time. So I've got a video of her, and she must be about 18 months old, and she's walking along and she's saying under her breath all the time, careful, careful, because she knew that I couldn't run to pick her up and save her. So she was very, very careful.
I think
Bless her.
children are so impatient,
Yeah.
regardless of whether
But
you're able-bodied or disabled or that. If
yeah,
it
Yeah.
doesn't happen
the
like
last
that,
yeah,
then
the
you know.
last thing I will say that she's 26 now, and she never cut me any slack at all when she was a teenager. She was
Yeah.
a total teenager. But we survived. What about you,
Um,
Andy? Are you okay with your teens? Are they?
Yeah, we've been really lucky with our teens. They've been pretty good.
Mm.
Uh, it helps having two parents that are police officers, right enough.
Oh, right.
The one time my eldest daughter went out street drinking with her pals, we managed to track where she was and have her picked up and thrown in the back of a police van and brought home. So she never done that again.
Oh, I could have done with that.
I think we all could have done with that. Right, thank you guys. We've got one last question in advance. So if anyone wants to send any more questions our way while we're live on air, please do. But this question is, how do you manage fatigue and single parenting? But I think let's just start with, how can you manage fatigue and parenting in general?
Mm,
Because you have, even if there are two parents, you normally only have one at home with the child at a time, um, as well. So it's finding that balance.
mm.
Janice?
Well, I just used to sleep whenever she did. Luckily, I'm not house proud, and neither is my husband. So things got done when they got done. And if a friend did come by and said, "Do you want me to do anything?" I'd say, "Yes, please clean the bathroom. Please run the Hoover around." Stuff like that. So, yeah, I just used to try and rest whenever she did. And it only, and she wasn't a good sleeper during the day, but she'd sleep all night, which was a godsend from being quite young. Um, but I just used to sometimes. Elmo was a great friend. She loved Elmo. I used to put an Elmo video on and just doze for half an hour when she was a bit bigger. So it's like bad parenting. I know, but I just used to put the TV on and she'd be quite transfixed with the TV. But it gave me a break. Even if I didn't go to sleep, I'd just sit there and recharge my battery and then go again and plan. I said earlier, I just used to spend an awful lot of time planning so that I didn't have to keep running up and down the stairs. Well,
Mm.
getting up and down the stairs. So I would just make sure that I had everything that I could possibly think of, just so that I was conserving as much of my energy, especially in the early days. So I think it was just planning and just having, think it's, she was probably quite old before I stopped carrying around a rucksack that had everything in it that I could possibly need to care for a child for a day. Change of clothes and nappies and snacks and all sorts of stuff. Because I just thought, well, I can't just nip off and get that. I need to know I've got it with me. So yeah, it's just planning and having spares. That's yeah, and kipping when I could.
Well, that's no different to, you know, the advice that we as parents are all given: when the baby sleeps, you sleep, if especially if you've been up
Yeah.
all night with them and what have you. So, don't feel guilty for resting when the baby's resting, because that's just a general parenting thing anyway.
Yeah.
You're no different to any other parent that has had broken sleep from children, which I presume we've all had at some time. Um, Single parenting, that's over to you, Susie.
What was the question? How was
How to
it?
manage fatigue and single parenting, but you can break it down if you want.
I don't know. I mean, single parenting is hard. I've only just come to it in July, so it's fairly new for me. And yeah, I don't, I don't really know what to say.
Do you get a break when the children go off to be with their dad?
No, they don't all go together, so I don't get a break at the minute. But I do get a break in terms of like when they go to school and
Yeah.
little one goes to nursery. So then I get my time and I'm doing lots of stuff at the gym and oxygen therapy and stuff. But yeah, I count that as my time and yeah, um,
I think maybe
yeah,
you've just got to find a way around it. It's like with
yeah,
parents, you might have um one parent out on shift work. So where you would expect two parents to be in the house maybe in an evening
yeah,
or at the weekend,
yeah.
they're possibly not because one's out shift working. So it's just
Yeah,
making it work for you, isn't it?
yeah, and I just have to hope that they do it nicely and but they do. I mean, actually they've been really good and they've been really good and when I've put them alone on at the house, when I take the little one out to nursery, that they're as good as gold, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm really proud of them now.
Oh, I
Mhm.
think the key to, you know, getting through to any child about anything is talking to them, you know,
Yeah,
break down those barriers and talk to them and sort of say, well, I can't do this because and what have you, or you can't
yeah.
do that because I can't do such a, but that's just general
Oh,
parenting
we've got
advice.
a dog as well. We've got a dog,
Oh
and
God.
that has, it's been about a week and a half now, but it's been amazing. It's been really good. So
Yeah,
that'll help.
that's
But
good.
yeah, yeah.
You
So
get
there,
Sheila, but sorry, Sheila, with me having kind of older children, they
Yeah.
very quickly realised that when I was grumpier than usual, they would send me to my bed. Yeah. So it was like, Dad, you need to go to bed. So, okay, right.
that
Mm,
was you told.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And do they still do it 6 years later?
Yeah.
Mm.
Bless
It's
them.
not easy because is it when because I think I've forgotten how many battles I've had with my daughter. I think because you know there's only so much you can do, isn't there, with your fatigue levels or your energy levels. I think
Mm.
even if you haven't had a stroke, but children are very much that they're centered around their own little world, and it's hard for them to understand sometimes when you don't fit into that. So I think, like Sheila said, I myself, I've tried to be as calm as possible. I've not always managed it. I've not always managed to be the calm one, but just yeah, I've just tried to be the calm one and explain. But it's not easy. But the good thing is, most children do grow out of it and they get better, get better with age. They do, thankfully. Slowly.
Don't anybody ask us what age they grew out of it because we can't
No.
answer that one.
No, we've got different challenges now that she's 26 because she wants to get married and it's all the challenges of supporting her through that now.
Well, yeah,
So
mine are 30 and 22 now, and they just laugh at me. So when I'm
mm,
fatigued at night or at weekends and my speech goes and what have you, and I come out with utter rubbish, they just look at me and laugh. And I think, well, they would do that whether I'd had a stroke or not and said a stupid thing, they'd just laugh at me. So you just got to go with the flow.
Yeah. I can remember somebody saying to me when she was about 2, "Oh, remember her at this age because she's so cute and easy to look after." And I thought, you are joking. I'm exhausted all the time and I'm on the go all the time while she's awake. But with hindsight, I know what they mean now because the challenges just change, don't they, as they
Yeah,
grow? Yeah. But,
definitely.
we'll get through it. You just get through it.
Is there any more questions out there? Someone's asked if different strokes offer any training for health professionals. Unfortunately, we don't. We're a peer-to-peer support charity, a small charity as well. So unfortunately we don't. But the best thing I would recommend is let the health professionals watch these webinars and see what stroke survivors are saying about different topics. You know, not just parenting and what have you, though every topic sort of intertwines.
Yeah.
We've been talking about fatigue today, how it intertwines with parenting.
Sorry to interrupt you
Go
there.
on.
Our colleague Caroline does have some ambassadors that are willing to do this kind of chat if healthcare professionals are having a multidisciplinary top up of your skills, I guess. I can't remember what the word would be, but when you have your meetings and you invite charities in or you update people, we can take part in those, even if it is remotely via Zoom. So if parenting was a particular topic, then I'm sure that could be arranged, but it would be as a remote session.
Thank you, Janice. I've got a frog in my throat now. Someone's commented, what about fatigue when children can't be left and get bored with TV, need more stimulating activities, and stroke survivor looking after them is too fatigued, and then meltdowns can happen. I would say, you know, reach out to your community, family, whatever, and see if anyone is there to offer help or support or what have you. You know, again, it's a general thing that, you know, children need stimulating more so than TV and what have you, but you know, reach out and see who can help you. You know, talk to your families, talk to your other mums in your family and see what they've done, because we've all got little tricks up our sleeve that we find when we're desperate for solutions to things, haven't we? So
yeah, fresh air as well. Get outside if you can.
yes.
If you're able to get outside. I think that's
Or like Susie, get a puppy.
more work.
No, it's not. It's easier.
Is it?
Yeah,
Get
it is.
distracted.
It's easier. Yeah, you play with him.
You must have really landed lucky with the dog, Susie. That's all I can say.
I did land lucky, actually. Yeah, I have got a good dog.
She does look very patient.
Yeah,
on the
she is.
phone.
Well, thank you to everyone. That's all the questions I can see for today. If you have any questions any other time, please just ring us, email in. I think Janice has put her contact details in the chat as well. But please, you know, come back to us at any time. And thank you to Janice, Andy, and Susie for sharing their experiences. And we will end the webinar in a second. And don't forget to fill in the thing that will pop up, the questionnaire, feedback questionnaire that will pop up at the end. And if you've got any suggestions for webinars for next year or even 2027, you know, please give them to us. Well, thank you for attending today. And as I say, any questions, please do get in touch with us. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.